Within Iran, the clerical regime maintains its grip through severe repression to silence any organized opposition. Nevertheless, as we have seen on the walls here, the MEK counters these tactics with resistant units. We saw 20,000 of them, small effective teams operating in neighborhoods, schools, and workplaces. These units are crucial in sparking and sustaining protests, defying regime crackdowns, and mobilizing widespread dissent against oppression. The regime itself acknowledges the organizational strengths of these units and their potential to influence broader uprising. Recognizing and supporting these resistance units is crucial for the global community in challenging the Revolutionary Guard and advancing a free and democratic Iran.
But the persecution and murder of members of the resistance units across Iran have only strengthened this movement in its numbers, its capabilities, its resolve, and it's inspiring the free world. Just as Raisi failed to exterminate the MEK during the 1988 massacre, Tehran will again fail to defeat the resistance units in Iran today. We stand unequivocally on the side of freedom and the Iranian people and their resistance units.
The dream of Iran's freedom is closer to reality today than ever. What happened yesterday in Iran sham elections, both the people's boycott and the unacceptable power struggle within the regime, alongside the remarkable and ongoing activities of the Mujahedin Resistance Units, has made this dream more achievable.
I watched the work of this organization and the resistance inside of Iran, and I think you have them scared. I think they are paranoid. I think they wake up most days recognizing that their leash on power is shorter than they wish it were. And so they hold mock elections. They issue statements about things that they frankly don't have the power to do. I think they do that because they think they can call our bluff. They may well call the bluff of leaders in Europe. They may well call the bluff of leaders elsewhere. They may call the bluff of American leaders too. I am confident they will never call the bluff of the people of Iran and the organized resistance therein.
I'd also like to salute the members of the PMO resistance units who are watching right now. Many of them are women. And we've seen in the beginning of this conference that they have carried out 20,000 acts of support for a free Iran for this gathering 2024. They have hung hundreds of huge banners from bridges overlooking Tehran, but also the other cities like Shiraz, Isfahan, Mashhad, and also in smaller towns. We also want to express our support for these many brave resistant units in Iran who are fighting against this repressive apparatus of the IRGC.
We must thank and congratulate all those colleagues from diverse parties right around the world for their magnificent show of support for the Iranian resistance, for President Mariam Rajavi's 10-point plan, and the struggle of the resistance units for a democratic Republic of Iran. Please show your appreciation for all those brave people.
I hope the courage of the resistance units, the courage that the women of Iran have shown over the last 2 years, I hope it inspires Western governments around the world to resist the pressure to simply go along to get along. That is a wrong approach. We have known one thing for the last 50 years. Accommodation and appeasement are a recipe for failure in containing the mullahs in Iran.
The MEK resistance units that we saw have been spreading all over the country. They are stronger as ever, and they have mobilized thousands of young people, women, men, families, entire families, to put an end to the tyranny. The resistance has also fought against gender inequality and against the misogynistic policies, and I think they have been successful in doing so.
Let's look at the situation inside Iran. We see a regime that is brittle and insecure. Consider this. The morality police are now wearing bulletproof vests when they're on the streets in Iran. Why is that? A regime that fears its own people and will not let them speak freely, will not let them vote in a fair and open election. A regime that lacks all legitimacy. At the same time, we see a democratic resistance movement inside Iran that is strong, widespread, and growing. Their personal courage is inspiring. The trends here are positive, moving in the right directions.
This nationwide boycott, organised by the resistance units of the NCRI, demonstrates that regime change must be central to the strategy against the current government in Iran. Look at the last 2 years of growing protests, 2 rounds of nationwide boycotts, and the expanding NCRI resistance units. These activities will only increase, a fact even the regime acknowledges despite its best efforts.
The Iranian people have made it clear that they reject the absolute rule that the theocracy with their nationwide boycott of yesterday's election and 2 years of sustained protest. The NCRI spearheaded this campaign inside the countries to the resistance units and social network.
I applaud Madam Rajavi and the NCRI, PMOI members in Ashraf 3 and all Iranians, including the brave resistance units inside Iran, for their efforts and sacrifices to help the Iranian people realise their democratic ambitions.
Now, the struggle for freedom and democracy in Iran is a universal fight for human rights and dignity, for the protection of our own justice and democratic systems. And it's time for the free world to support the legitimacy of the NCRI and its resistance units against the clerical regime in Iran.
You are the only ones who can and should change the clerical fascist tyranny in your country. It is critical times to step and unify your resistance. You are the only ones who can and should tear down the wall of isolation and oppression in Iran. Take the future of Iran into your own hands and show the whole world that the glory of free and prosperous Iran is within your reach. It's not only possible, but it's coming, and it's coming soon. God bless you and thank you.